Hello, everyone, and welcome. From my Muslim family and friends, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. This is my coming out message, so to speak. No, not that kind of coming out. Today is actually about a different kind of coming out. It's about religion and making conscious choices. It's about something that I've kept quiet about for the better part of 20 years. You see, I was born into a denomination of Islam called Ahmadiyyat. I have, however, left Ahmadiyyat. I have also, in fact, left Islam. I've left all religions altogether. I did so long ago, but have only recently begun to formalize it and talk about this choice, which I and countless others have made, but often shy away from vocalizing. Today, I'm going to tell you why people leave and why I've left. Or should I say, I'm going to give you just a little preview. But know this, I didn't leave the positive values that I was raised with, nor have I left the Muslim people that I've grown up with and whom I love. You might be thinking, people leave their inherited religions all the time. They don't create coming out videos about it. They just move on with their lives. Why don't you just keep this to yourself? Well, my answer to that question is that I hope that we do get to see a world where the repercussions for leaving Islam, even in the West, are as benign as they are for leaving Christianity. But we're not there yet. If you're a non-Muslim, you probably don't hear much about people leaving Islam, because most people, in order to maintain good relations with family and friends, have to keep it quiet. Or they have to pretend to be nominal, liberal, or deficient Muslims. It's rather insulting to human dignity to have to live inauthentically, to protect our loved ones from the gossip and the perceptions of small-minded people in their religious communities. To upend the status quo, we have to normalize dissent. This video is my small contribution towards that very effort. I hope that in a few short years, such vocal proclamations of non-belief in Islam will be completely unnecessary. But in 2019, we're not there yet. Without fail, most liberal and moderate Muslim families still plead with their loved ones, please keep your apostasy private. What are people going to say? Or in Urdu, log kya kahenge? As a result, a huge proportion of young people, and many not so young, keep as a secret their most fundamental convictions about religion. They allow others to assume and project a false identity onto their persons, just to save face. Living muzzled in this way is inauthentic. It's corrosive and it's unfair, and it has to stop. And the way to fix this is to normalize disbelief in one's inherited religion, whichever religion that may be. Today, I'm sharing a message of authenticity. And in this message, there is love and there is gratitude for people who still hold religious beliefs that I myself no longer do. I don't want those of us who question and who leave Islam to have to choose between our families and our authenticity, our autonomy, or our dignity. My message is one of rejecting racism and of rejecting bigotry, especially the soft bigotry of low expectations. My message is about questioning beliefs as we stay mindful of the fact that ideas do not have rights. Only people do. People have the right to believe or not to believe. All of us have the right to profess our positions and to evangelize for them, whether in favor of a religion or as critical of one. The primary audience for this video are people who have grown up as Muslims or who have at one point converted to Islam. In particular, my specific focus is directed at Ahmadi Muslims, with whom I share a background. Whether you're questioning or hadn't even begun to question yet, this message is for you. I'll also close with advice for my fellow ex-Muslims in general. Namely, that despite provocation and misrepresentation of our positions, it is important that we dialogue on these highly charged topics from a place of love and compassion, even if these same gestures of kindness have not been extended to us. In this coming out series of videos, I'm going to tell you a bit about my story with Islam. In my journey, Ahmadiyyat was the lens through which I had originally learnt, studied, and lived Islam. I began to seriously question at the age of 19, after reflecting upon verses in the Quran where women are treated differently than men. Inheritance, guardianship, divorce protocol, physical discipline, and so on. Having grown up in Canada, I actually first looked into these controversial verses so that I could become more effective in preaching the message of Islam to a Western audience. I was about 25 years old at the time, and I didn't make nor did I take this decision lightly. When I posed my theological questions in writing, the religious leadership could not produce a written response or even a rebuttal in spoken conversation. My questions were read, acknowledged, and then simply ignored. Now, even before that time, back when I was a teenager and had first started questioning, we did our research with printed books and trips to the library. This was all well before Google was the de facto resource that it is today. After a few years of having left Islam, I did actually try to rekindle my religious convictions. Why, you might ask? Well, because I longed for community and that turnkey sense of having almost everything laid out for you. As human beings, we also crave structure and we gravitate toward ready-made answers, even if they're wrong. Few of us are truly comfortable embracing the unknown or admitting that we don't have definitive answers for some of life's biggest questions. And it's okay to say that we don't know, especially with the big questions. It's a more honest answer in which there is no shame. In fact, such courage and such honesty should be celebrated. The time to believe in religious claims is after the evidence has come in for those claims. Let's not believe in religious claims until then. To do so is to allow ourselves to be fooled. It is to naively reward acting on emotional hunches propped up by flawed reasoning in favor of a number of cognitive biases that we humans are prone to. Is God rewarding us for succumbing to such cognitive human biases not borne out by reason and objectively verifiable truths? Did a religious leader tell an infertile couple in your community that God would bless them with a child after being childless for 12 years? Did the subsequent birth of a child to this couple increase your faith? What becomes of all of the other prophetic-sounding statements that this same person has made over the last 20 years, which you've not been privy to? How's their batting average compared to the rate of chance? Who's keeping track of all of their prophetic-sounding statements that went nowhere? Do you brush these failures aside with the exasperated retort, "Only Allah knows"? Please realize that we human beings have a cognitive bias toward remembering the outcomes which confirm our existing beliefs. Anecdotes like these rely on a combination of selective memory and confirmation biases, say nothing of the opportunity to embellish undocumented stories retold after the fact.